what law enforcement agencies across multiple jurisdictions, the police departments, the cybercrime units, the consumer protection divisions, the digital forensics teams, and the technology crime investigators who are dealing every day with the real victims, the real financial losses, the real privacy violations, and the real physical safety consequences of crimes that are being enabled by a specific Bluetooth setting that the overwhelming majority of smartphone users have never examined, never deliberately configured, and never understood the security and safety implications of having enabled on a device that accompanies them everywhere they go, and that broadcasts information about itself through the Bluetooth radio, that this specific setting keeps continuously active, continuously discoverable, and continuously vulnerable to the full range of Bluetooth-based attacks, Bluetooth-based tracking, Bluetooth-based data harvesting, and Bluetooth-facilitated crimes that law enforcement is documenting with increasing frequency, increasing financial cost to victims, and increasing urgency about the need to communicate to the public that a single settings change that takes less than 30 seconds to execute can dramatically reduce their exposure to a category of technology-enabled crime that is growing faster than most people realize, and whose victims include people of every demographic, every technical sophistication level, and every income bracket who simply never knew that the Bluetooth setting on their phone was broadcasting a constant invitation to the criminals, the stalkers, the data harvesters, and the opportunistic thieves who have learned to exploit it, have been issuing with increasing urgency, increasing geographic breadth, and increasing specificity about the exact nature of the threat. And the exact nature of the protective action required is a warning that every smartphone user who has Bluetooth enabled on their device needs to hear, needs to understand completely, and needs to act upon immediately by following the specific steps this video will walk through. To turn off the specific Bluetooth setting that police are warning about before the next criminal, stalker, or data harvester who encounters their device in a coffee shop, a shopping mall, an airport, a gym, or any other public space where millions of people carry their Bluetooth-enabled smartphones every day, adds them to the growing list of victims whose exposure to this specific setting's vulnerability has already cost them their money, their privacy, their personal safety, or in the most serious documented cases, their physical security. The specific Bluetooth setting that police are warning about, the particular configuration within the Bluetooth radio management of modern smartphones, that creates the security and safety vulnerability whose exploitation law enforcement is documenting with the urgency that has prompted this public warning, is the Bluetooth discoverability setting, sometimes labeled as Make Device Visible, Discoverable by All, or Open to Discovery depending on the specific smartphone operating system and the specific device manufacturer's implementation of the Bluetooth settings interface, a setting that, when enabled, causes the smartphone's Bluetooth radio to broadcast the device's presence, the device's name, and the device's Bluetooth address to every other Bluetooth-enabled device within range, in a manner that allows any device within that range to detect, identify, and in some cases, begin the process of connecting to or interacting with the discoverable device without any action by the discoverable device's owner, and without any notification to the owner that their device has been detected, identified, and potentially targeted by a nearby device whose operator may have malicious, exploitative, or criminal intentions toward the person carrying the discoverable smartphone. The Bluetooth discoverability vulnerability creates several distinct categories of risk that together constitute the compound threat that police are warning about and that the turning off of this specific setting addresses, categories that range from the relatively minor privacy violation of having one's device detected and cataloged by passive Bluetooth scanning operations to the severe privacy and safety violation of active Bluetooth attacks that exploit the discoverable device's visibility, conduct data harvesting, device tracking, and in some documented cases, the installation of malware through Bluetooth vulnerabilities that require device discoverability as a precondition for their successful execution. The Bluetooth tracking threat, the use of a smartphone's discoverable Bluetooth signal to track the physical location and the physical movements of the person carrying the discoverable device, is the category of Bluetooth discoverability exploitation that law enforcement considers the most immediately dangerous from a personal safety perspective, because it enables stalking, enables the monitoring of a victim's movements by an abuser or controlling partner, enables the surveillance of a person's routine and schedule by a criminal planning a robbery or another physical crime, and enables the kind of persistent location monitoring of a specific individual that would otherwise require the installation of dedicated tracking hardware or software, but that Bluetooth discoverability makes achievable through passive scanning of publicly broadcast Bluetooth signals without any need to touch the victim's device, install anything on the victim's device, or take any action that the victim would notice or that would leave any evidence of the tracking activity on the victim's device. The specific mechanism of Bluetooth tracking through discoverability exploits the fact that each Bluetooth device broadcasts a unique identifier, the Bluetooth MAC address, that remains constant over time in older devices, and that allows a person or system monitoring Bluetooth signals to identify the presence of a specific device at a specific location and time by detecting the broadcast of that specific MAC address, to track the device's movements by detecting the same MAC address at different locations and different times, and to build a comprehensive picture of the device owner's location patterns, routine movements, and habitual presence at specific locations that provides the kind of detailed surveillance intelligence that stalkers, abusers, and criminal actors can exploit for the specific harmful purposes that each category of malicious actor has for knowing where a specific individual goes and when they go there. The Bluetooth data harvesting threat, the exploitation of device discoverability to extract information about the discoverable device, including its manufacturer, its model, the Bluetooth services it is running, and in some cases, information about the applications and the configurations that can be inferred from the Bluetooth service profiles the device broadcasts, provides attackers with reconnaissance information about the target device that can be used to identify specific vulnerabilities to target in subsequent attacks, to understand the device's capabilities and configurations in ways that inform more targeted attack planning, and to build the device profile that some Bluetooth attack techniques require as a precondition for our successful execution against the specifically profiled target device. The Bluetooth attack surface that Discoverability creates, the exposure of the device's Bluetooth stack, its Bluetooth service handlers, and its Bluetooth authentication mechanisms to active probing and active attack attempts from any device within Bluetooth range that chooses to initiate connection attempts or other Bluetooth protocol interactions with the discoverable device, is a technical attack surface whose exploitation has been documented in multiple significant Bluetooth vulnerability research findings, including the Blueborn vulnerability class, that demonstrated the ability to execute arbitrary code on discoverable Bluetooth devices without any user interaction or pairing, the bias attack that demonstrated the ability to impersonate paired devices and establish unauthorized connections with vulnerable Bluetooth implementations, and the BlueSmack denial of service attack that can crash or disrupt a discoverable Bluetooth device through malformed Bluetooth protocol messages, the proximity crime facilitation that Bluetooth discoverability enables, the ability of a criminal in physical proximity to a potential victim to scan for Bluetooth devices, to identify valuable devices, including premium smartphones, whose Bluetooth device names often include the device model that reveals its approximate market value, to assess the technical profile of the device, and to use this information to select specific theft targets to identify individuals worth following for robbery or other physical crimes, or to gather the reconnaissance information that facilitates other proximity-based crimes whose planning and execution benefits from knowledge of the specific devices being carried by specific individuals in specific locations, is the Bluetooth discoverability risk category that connects the digital vulnerability most directly to physical world crime. And that gives the police warning about turning off this Bluetooth setting its most immediately urgent personal safety dimension. The bluejacking and blue snarfing attacks that Bluetooth discoverability enables. Bluejacking being the sending of unsolicited messages or contact cards to discoverable Bluetooth devices that can be used for harassment, for social engineering, that tricks recipients into actions that benefit the attacker, and for the delivery of malicious content in formats that some Bluetooth implementations accept and process automatically without user confirmation, and blue snarfing being the unauthorized access to and extraction of data from a discoverable Bluetooth device, including contacts, calendar entries, messages, and other personal data, that the Bluetooth object push profile makes accessible through certain Bluetooth implementations, are attack categories that have been documented since the earliest widespread deployment of Bluetooth technology, and that have continued to affect discoverable devices throughout the history of the technology. Because the fundamental vulnerability of making a device discoverable to unknown nearby devices has never been eliminated by any technical countermeasure short of disabling discoverability itself. The process of turning off the Bluetooth discoverability setting on Android devices, the specific navigation path through the Android settings interface that reaches the discoverability configuration and allows it to be disabled, requires understanding that on most modern Android devices running Android 6 or later the Bluetooth discoverability is controlled not through a dedicated setting in the Bluetooth settings menu, but through the quick settings panel where toggling Bluetooth off eliminates discoverability entirely, and through the Bluetooth settings menu where the device visibility to other devices can be managed, with the important clarification that even when Bluetooth connectivity remains enabled for active connections to paired devices, the discoverability to unpaired devices can and should be disabled, so that previously paired devices can still connect while unknown nearby devices cannot detect the phone's presence. The process of turning off Bluetooth discoverability on iOS devices follows a different path through the Apple device settings interface that reflects Apple's somewhat different implementation of Bluetooth discoverability controls, where the Bluetooth settings page manages discoverability primarily through whether Bluetooth is enabled or disabled, rather than through a dedicated discoverability toggle, with iOS devices generally becoming discoverable primarily through specific application flows that explicitly enable discoverability for specific pairing purposes rather than maintaining a persistent discoverable state, as some Android configurations do. The additional Bluetooth security measures that complement the discoverability setting change, and that together constitute a comprehensive Bluetooth security posture appropriate for the current threat environment that police are warning about, include the regular review and deletion of paired Bluetooth devices to remove pairings to devices that are no longer used or no longer recognized, the use of Bluetooth only in trusted environments when pairing to new devices is actually needed, rather than keeping Bluetooth enabled and potentially discoverable at all times in all public environments. The review of application Bluetooth permissions to identify and revoke Bluetooth access granted to applications that have no legitimate need for it, the enabling of Bluetooth pairing confirmation requirements that require explicit user action to complete any pairing request and prevent automatic pairing to devices the user has not explicitly accepted, and the attention to Bluetooth security updates that are included in operating system patches and that address specific Bluetooth vulnerabilities discovered after the device's initial release. The public spaces where Bluetooth discoverability creates the greatest risk, the airports, the shopping malls, the coffee shops, the public transit systems, the gyms, the entertainment venues, and every other location where large numbers of people carrying Bluetooth-enabled devices are concentrated in relatively confined spaces that allow a criminal actor with a Bluetooth scanning device to detect, catalog, and in some cases attack the discoverable devices of everyone in the area, are exactly the spaces where turning off Bluetooth discoverability provides the greatest immediate protective benefit, because they are the spaces where the density of potential malicious actors performing Bluetooth scanning is highest and where the opportunity to exploit discoverable devices is greatest for the criminals, the data harvesters, and the trackers who have learned to use Bluetooth discoverability as a tool for the crimes and the privacy violations that the police warning is designed to prevent. Turn off this Bluetooth setting right now. Find the Bluetooth discoverability setting on your device through the navigation path appropriate for your operating system and device manufacturer. Disable discoverability to unknown devices while maintaining connectivity to your established paired devices. If you need ongoing Bluetooth connectivity for headphones, speakers, or other regularly used Bluetooth accessories, implement the additional Bluetooth security measures that together create the comprehensive Bluetooth security posture that the current threat environment demands, and share this police warning with every person in your life who carries a Bluetooth-enabled smartphone in public and who deserves to know that the law enforcement agencies documenting the crimes that Bluetooth discoverability enables have identified a single settings change that can dramatically reduce their exposure to a growing category of technology-facilitated crime, whose victims include people exactly like them who simply never knew that their Bluetooth settings were broadcasting a constant invitation to the criminal actors who have learned to answer it. Like this video, if this complete, specific, and urgently protective analysis of the police warning about the Bluetooth setting that needs to be turned off now gave you the understanding of exactly what the setting does, exactly why law enforcement considers it dangerous, exactly which categories of crime and privacy violation its exploitation enables, and exactly how to turn it off and implement the comprehensive Bluetooth security measures that protect against the full range of Bluetooth-based threats that the police. Warning is designed to alert smartphone users to before they become the next victims of crimes, whose enablement a single settings change could have prevented. Subscribe to this channel for the kind of seriously researched, law enforcement informed, and genuinely protective smartphone security content that empowers ordinary users to protect their physical safety, their digital privacy, and their financial security from the technology-facilitated threats that specific device settings create when they are left unexamined and unconfigured by users who were never clearly told what those settings do or why turning them off is the urgent protective action that law enforcement agencies are warning every smartphone user to take right now before the next Bluetooth attack finds their discoverable device in a public space and begins the process that ends in one more victim added to the list that police are trying to prevent from growing any longer. See you in the next one.